Okay. I think we're there. And if it says in broadcast, that means I'm recording, right? Jason, Scott, anybody know that on StreamYard?
I see that it says live, which to me says that it's live.
Yeah. Okay, and everybody who's listening to this, seeing it live, can you tell John's not here? It's Lee. Hi. I really, really hope this is recording, or else John is gonna give me so much hell. Okay. So hi everybody. Welcome to 50 Days of Dragon Con. This is Lee by herself. Really, really hoping this is recording because I don't see a little record button, and I thought John said there had to be one, but okay, whatever. I don't, I'll make him do something else with it. So we are here today. I'm not going to do the hi. I'm going to do the hello. 50 Days of Dragon Con. You know what this is. The podcast that is a little bit masochistic and needs a little more help and therapy and meds. So, but we're here with people who also need therapy and meds. We are here with 4 people taking med. That's one of the rules at Dragon Con, folks. I've said it before. Take your meds. Take your meds.
Take your meds and only your meds.
Don't share your meds.
No.
Share. You may share Advil or Tylenol if someone asks you for them, but you can't share the other meds. Don't share meds. Meds are bad. Okay, so we are here with Jason, Scott, Michael, and Nefri, who are 4 people from Tech Ops, and 3 of these people get to blame Michael for this, or who is also called Transtar, because Michael emailed 50 Days and said, I don't want to be on, but I want you to get Tech Ops on, because I don't think people know what Tech Ops does. And I said, sure. And then I proceeded to email these other 3 people and say, and I'm throwing Michael under the bus, and he has to be here too. So hi, Michael. Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Lee.
See what happens?
See, you volunteer other people, and you get volunteered.
That's how we all started here.
That's exactly.
I was going to blame Jason. Yeah.
You're going to blame Jason? Blame Jason. Yeah. That's what works. So we're going to start with Jason just because I am going from top and left to right, doing it that way. So Jason, who are you? What do you do? And how long have you been with Dragon Con?
So I'm Jason Allgood, also known as Wolfman. In Tech Ops, we pretty much don't go by real names. We only know each other by our badge names. And that's the name I've had since middle school, so that's the name that stuck. I am the daytime director of Tech Ops. I have been a director for the last 9 or 10 years-ish.
Wow.
This is my 26th year at Dragon Con. So I've been doing this since 1996. It's been a little while ago.
Okay. Alrighty. And then now we will also go to West Coast, who is also known as Scott.
I'm Scott. At Dragon Con, they call me West Coast. I am the nighttime director for Tech Ops. I've been doing this since 2000. I think that was my first year.
Ooh, wow.
And like most of us in Tech Ops, done everything from run a cable from here to there, to run a room, to run a hotel, to now run that shifts for Dragon Con and Tech Ops.
Okay. Would night, I would think that night would be a little calmer at Dragon Con, but I actually doubt that at Dragon Con.
Nope.
I was thinking, nope. No.
The daytime's nice because it's a lot of talking heads, but the nighttime comes out to a little bit more of the parties, a little bit more of the wild stuff. And so it's not that there's more technical problems. It's more, there are more general problems that kind of arise that we are brought into to help resolve issues.
It's a different kind of production value. Like during the day, panelists talking at a panel, you got a couple of people with microphones, Q&A. After about 6, 7 p.m., we started to get into things like Masquerade and some of the bands that start and some of the stage shows. And then that trailers on into the bigger bands and the DJs and things like that, which leads over to Nefri. But Nefri, you can probably introduce yourself too.
Yeah. And then you have kilt blowing to throw into that too.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry, my leaf.
No, you got kilt blowing. It is something that happens at Dragon Con, and if you don't know what it is, it's after 10 p.m., so that should give you an idea of the audience that kilt blowing is for. So, just
and
that.
you could always just look it up, like because it's look it up. Just saying.
I like you, Nefri. I already know I'm gonna like
I
you.
like you too, Lee.
Okay, so now we've got Transtar, who is also Michael, who's the one who got all of these people here. Hi, Michael. What do you do and how long? And oh my goodness, you poor thing. You look all of 12, but all right.
So my name is Michael. I'm a hotel lead, like Scott was saying. So you kind of rise up through the ranks, and I'm work in the Westin. So I'm pretty much, because that hotel does somewhat shut down, work most of the time that it is there. So we are responsible for making sure everything runs smoothly over there in the Westin, from everything from just making sure hotel relations to making sure everything's working, which sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and you just deal with it.
You just deal. Yep. Organized chaos. There you go. And Nefri, what do you do, and how long have you been doing it?
I might have to check in. I'm not really sure. I think I started in 2006. I know that I'm pushing 15 years, if this isn't my 15th year. So 2006, 2007, something like that. And I started as grunt, actually. I started in the long ago, the old school tech ops, and I eventually landed my way to working in the big Centennial Ballroom as the main sound tech. And I have some odd stories from that experience until Jason discovered I was organized.
Oops.
Yeah. So then you just sort of, like they said, involuntarily sometimes get put in different positions.
And you can do this. And then you can do this too. Oh, yeah.
You can herd.
So now I'm the overnight director. Yeah, it's always herding cats. So I'm the overnight director. So the three of us work in concert because, as Scott clarified at the beginning, it is a 24-hour convention. If not for the attendees, then it certainly is for tech ops. We have a ton of rooms that have just, huge quantities of cables and equipment and everything and all of that. We've got security issues at night. We've got people throwing chairs. We've got it gets a little wild at night, but it's definitely a different beast than what the guys have to deal with. They much more have to think on their feet. They have to do things on the fly while the panel is effectively going on, whereas I get a little more grace period. I can kind of maneuver around at night where nobody can see me, and I can be very sneaky.
Okay, got it. So I need to find you if I need a cable and I can't find it, and all of a sudden it shows up in the morning. Got it. Understood what Nefri does here. Always. Look.
Suddenly really regretting my answer.
I am a track director. I use any and all networking possible. So thank you very much. So, okay. Now, so tech ops, you guys have kind of explained it. You're in all the main rooms. You're in all the track rooms. You're in the concourse, right? Dealer's room, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the Miramarts.
Anywhere you see a display, a projector, speakers. If you hear an audio loop of something going, and in some cases, we literally just provided power strips and electrical extension cords, so like registration and things like that. So, or the even the bullhorns for the parade. So the people out there directing traffic, that came from Tech Ops' stuff as well.
Yep.
I think if anything plugs into a wall, one of us has probably touched it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. And okay, so we're going to get more into this, but all right, so I know you're at all 5 hotels. You already said the Mart. How big is Tech Ops?
I'm gonna let y'all take that one.
We are the biggest department within Dragon Con itself.
Okay.
we get 300 plus volunteers just for tech ops every single year. And there's no way we can do it without less people. We start the Monday before DragonCon and end the Monday of DragonCon, and we're running usually 24 hours a day. We need that many people constantly through all 3 of these shifts just to make it survive.
Wow.
To kind of go into the granularity of why so many. So we have 18 ballrooms that we staff 24 hours a day that we set up and tear down and do all this changes in the middle between bringing bands on and striking tables and all that fun stuff. But then we also set up, I believe, about 80 meeting rooms for the tracks. So that's all of the microphones and the projectors and displays and all that kind of stuff that go into the track rooms. And then we usually have some kind of a local equipment room or some kind of a triage center that can support those track rooms as they operate. So like in the Hyatt, for example, if you had a problem in a room, you could go to our operations center in the Hyatt and say, hey, I have a problem in this room, and we have somebody that can kind of support you from there.
Okay. So yeah, if there is a problem, I know track directors contact you guys like going, they didn't tell me they needed a projector. I asked all my guests. They never said they needed a projector. And you guys have pulled my butt, I know, out of the fire, but a lot of other track directors as well. So thank you. I will say
sometimes literally.
Yes, sometimes literally.
Okay, I don't have anything to do with fire. So whose butt was on fire? Because that's like somebody who's got to tell me a story.
We'll just say we've had some experiences with unscheduled pyrotechnics or pyrotechnics that were more than authorized in the past.
Oh, they didn't, and those didn't have anything to do with the Tesla coils, did they?
Oh no, the Tesla coils were actually okay. We were all good for that.
Just a few other groups.
Yeah, a few other groups in the past that didn't really want to play by DragonCon's rules, so they're not welcome back anymore.
Every year you get somebody. Yep. Every year you get somebody who thinks they can pull the wool over somebody's eyes, not realizing there's 128 directors constantly walking around that I guarantee you, if you're going to try to pull something, you're going to get caught. Bye-bye badge. Don't come back.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm a mom too. Don't know if anybody else is a parent on this group, but I'm a mom. There is very little, Scott, there's very little you're going to surprise me with. Plus, I worked in public health and with the Department of Social Services. There is no story you can tell me that is going to shock me. It might surprise me a little bit, but you can't shock me and you won't get it past me. Because I was a boring kid in high school, but my sister wasn't. So I learned a lot from her. I'm just saying.
I'm an IT manager who was trained to become to teach 6th grade education. So there's very little thing. There's very little that you can do to make me kind of be that surprised. And I'm gonna usually look at you and say, "Is that the best you could do?"
Really? Today? Seriously? It's Monday. You had to come here on Friday to even surprise me at all at this point. So good. So 300 volunteers. Now, I'm going to ask this to Michael. You're at the Westin, the Wild Wild Westin, which it does seem to get a little bit calmer. Although this year, good luck.
If
you listen to Phil, there might be some gaming extra in there overnight. But how many do you have? How many volunteers just in that hotel?
Just in our hotel, we typically probably run about 15 to 20 just for tech ops. So our main center is that Peachtree Ballroom. And then we have the hotel leads and then what we call firefighters, which are kind of our people who have shown themselves to be technically competent that can run around, fix things that happen in track rooms in the main ballrooms. So between those, we're usually, if you've ever been to the Westin, all those stairs, I've at least touched probably one of those stairs once a weekend. It's because I'm up and down constantly.
Do you wear a pedometer so you know how many steps you take, or do you just not?
I don't. I do not do that. I don't. All the guys do it. I'm not.
I did it 1 year, and once it hit 80,000 steps in the con, I stopped. That was it.
I'm like, I'm out. I'm done.
Nope.
For the last,
yeah, I was gonna say, what was that, Scott? That was what, Tuesday, Wednesday? That
exactly.
Day?
It was like, nope.
It was just during the load-in day that we're going to talk about in a minute, right?
I'm not doing it.
During con, I have forced myself during the actual show when it's open between Thursday and Monday is to try to sit in more places or kind of light in a couple of more strategic places where I need to be, because during load in, when we're actually pushing stuff around and getting to all the places, I average about 10 to 12 miles a day during load in.
Yep.
Oh my. Oh my. That's a lot.
Yeah, my average over the last about 8 years at Dragon Con is right about 70 miles every year.
Yeah, because as a director, you're constantly making that route from hotel to hotel to hotel, get all the way around, break for a few minutes, get up and do it all over again.
Water, because you probably have gotten dehydrated by this point and you need to do that. Oh, wow.
Well, and that's assuming that you don't get any of the really fun special projects, which is, in my opinion, my favorite thing about being in management that I never got to do as a grunt, is we have all of our regular activities that the four of us and our other hotel leads all have to do, and I do mean 365. But then once we get on site, sometimes we get what would you call it? We get like bonus levels. We get side quests.
So you get side. I know what side
we get side quests.
My son and my husband play D&D. I know what side quests are. Oh, I feel so smart.
Okay, so you're familiar. So our side quests usually run along the lines of somebody vastly more powerful than us comes to one of us and says, hey, we've got a John Barrowman panel and he wants to walk into the Wonder Woman theme, but not the new one from the movie. I want the original one with Linda Carter, and I want to make sure to have this, and I don't want to have any of the video. I just want to have the audio. Can you go ahead and have that for me in like 3.5 hours? Is that good? Okay, awesome.
3.5 hours?
It's usually more like 15 minutes.
30 minutes. I know. 30 minutes is what's between panels. He just now. Right.
Oh, no. We get lucky, and they come to us maybe that day. Okay. And it's like, all right, well, we can, I don't know how I'm going to do that request. But I'm going to figure it out.
Yes, we will.
The side quests like that, we often have panelists walk on stage and basically like, hey, can you give us intro music that's this theme or whatever? Like, we don't bring it with us. You know, can you just pull this song up and play it for us to walk in? I know Transtar knows what I'm talking about because it happened in his hotel once.
Has it happened in yours? Oh.
And we will do whatever we can to make it happen. When they ask for it, we'll do.
Yeah.
We will do. I have to say my favorite side quest as a track director was not even for my track, but was for friends of mine who were doing something. And they said there was supposed to be a guitar stand up on stage. And I went, okay. And they said, so do you have one? And I went, no. And they said, well, but you can always do anything, Lee. And I said, no, see, y'all lie. We can't do anything. We can't do everything. But let me see. I basically walked around the concourse level of the was that Marriott at that point, and walked around there, and I said, I just need to borrow it for the next couple of hours. I promise I will bring it back. Here's my name. I showed them a badge. I'm a track director. This is when we had the blue ribbons too. And I'm a track director. And they said, yeah, sure. We know who you are. And I'm like, oh, awesome. I don't know who the heck. I don't even remember what band it was at this point.
I remember this.
I got it there. You do remember this, Scott? Yes. I think you were around. That was that was fun.
Do we really have a guitar stand? No, but we can find one. Okay.
I can find one. So I went and walked around, and then I found out that there are two types of guitar stands. There's an electric guitar stand and an acoustic guitar stand. I had no idea.
And if you don't tell me, you're going to get the first thing I find.
And well, the first thing that I find that somebody can let me use because they didn't have a concert that night that they needed.
Yep. And that's usually what it is. Going back to the bands and saying, hey, can we borrow something of your equipment?
And we'll give it back. We swear we'll give it back because I don't need a guitar stand. I don't want it. I don't play guitar. So yeah, side quests are always fun at Dragon Con. I like this idea that you can just come forward and go, I would like to walk in to Wonder Woman, and I'm thinking that would be awesome, but no, I don't actually really want to do that, so that would be cool. So okay, I like this idea of side quests. These are very good. So now you guys have also said you're there on the Monday before con.
Yep.
And in the pre-show, sometimes the Tuesday after con. So if John Boutel, who is the producer, director, whatever of this, ever says he wants con to be 7 days, I think I'm just going to tell him to volunteer for you guys. Is that okay? Because he knows tech crap. He can help y'all do that.
He can volunteer, but we'll shoot him before he makes that suggestion of making it 7 days. Yeah, that means if it's 7 days Dragon Con, it's 14 days Tech Ops
for us. Yeah.
Yeah. See,
it means we're definitely going to have to revisit the definition of the word volunteer.
Yeah. And at that point, these three directors, my hotel leads, my volunteers will all start to cry. And we can't have that. Nope.
Lee, the compression.
Exactly.
The compression that happens in there is what's really challenging for us. Is okay, Dragon Con used to be 3 days, but it was still 5+ for us because we still have to get in and set everything up. When we added a little bit more onto Thursday, and then we started kind of bumping some more into. Now we're official on Thursday, and now we're kind of moving up some stuff on Thursday day. It just keeps moving us further and further back. The problem is the hotels in general don't have to commit to availability before Dragon Con's there. So we're fighting with other groups that are there before we are. So let's just say we have to go live by Thursday afternoon in the Marriott, and there's a group in the Marriott until Thursday morning.
Which there often is.
Often. So we definitely have time compression problems where we have to get completely into a hotel and set up from scratch sometimes in 6 to 8 hours. Mm-hmm. And that's all hands on deck for that one hotel.
Right.
And we'll have our volunteers run into that room and help the hotel staff stack the chairs, get them off to the side, simply so we have more room to get our equipment in and going.
Right. Yep. Because I think that's the thing people don't get. Okay, so every time you kind of trip over that cord that has the black tape on top of it, the electrical tape, they put that down. Not just the cord, but the tape over it. And then they take it up. And then they might have to move it because all of a sudden we found out something, and who knows what it could be. It's just that, the plug that we thought we were going to be able to use can't take 4 cords in it or 2 cords or whatever, or it can't take the surge protector. So yeah, we got to move it. Yep. So awesome. So yeah, that's just it. You guys are there constantly. You don't stop. That's amazing.
Yep.
No.
And
so
actually, I was gonna say a second ago just that Transtar is probably the youngest of us, but me and Scott and Jason have been working together for upwards of 10 years now. So we are very much a part of each other's lives all the time.
We know who everybody is. We spend a lot of time together. By the end of con, I doubt you want to talk to each other for at least about a week, probably.
We don't. We have a schedule, the three of us, and we specifically do not talk to each other until after Halloween.
Aside from the after action reports, I try to make September basically Dragon Con free after we leave con, but we still have to get all of our after action reports into to our senior director so they can go to the con chairs.
And Transtar, you were about to say something, I think.
I was going to say it's also too us just catching up on sleep and as well and recovering because Dead Dog is aptly named for us because we are fairly dead at that point.
Assuming we ever get there because we're usually still loading out during Dead Dog.
That's often it. And that's why I want to say, because somebody once said to me and they were like, you're still here on Monday at like 5 o'clock. You could have still done panels. I'm like, you do see we got nothing in here anymore. Like I've got 4 tables and even half my chairs are gone. They have to take everything out of the room. Right.
Well, that's the thing. What people don't understand is we'll start setting equipment up Monday before con through the start of con. So we have 4.5 days to set everything up. When the con is done on Monday, we usually get from roughly 1 p.m. And we try to get done by midnight to get everything that we did across 4.5 days to get done in 6 hours. Done. Yeah. So it's not a, hey, can I have a panel at 6 o'clock on Monday night? No, you cannot.
No.
Sure you can, but it's going to be in the loading dock, and it's not going to have any technology that's plugged in.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You can hold that microphone. It's not going to work now.
It's just going to be there as a prop.
No, it's not even going to be there as a prop because we're going to take it out of your hand.
We'll
Yeah, right. We got to put it in the box where it goes. What? Here's a little. Yeah, you can carry this one. Well, I think that's very interesting too, because you guys were talking about that. I always love it when you guys will come in and you're like, shoot, 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 and I'm like, how did you do that so fast? And they just look at me and they're like, your room is number 12 that we've done since 1 o'clock, and I'm like, oh. You're good at this. And they're like, yes, we are. And I've still got 27 more to go. Yeah. So.
Well, we try to motivate people. You know, we don't want you to go to Dead Dog until we have all of our equipment done.
Exactly.
You want food? Get the job done. Now we go get food.
Right. Yes, exactly. And for people who may not know what a Dead Dog is, it is a party for people the last night before everybody scatters everywhere, and it's for the volunteers, but it depends. And by calling it a party, let me explain. There's a reason it's called Dead Dog. We are exhausted. We are lying on the floor sometimes like a dog. And you see, I didn't say cat. There's a reason that way, because as soon as you try to do that with a cat, the cat's going to get up and go somewhere else. So the dog is just like, I'm done. I'm exhausted. Yep. So there you go. And we want them there so we can all share our hugs and our crying at the same time. We want them at that party, the tech ops and safety and everybody else. So there we go. Now, the other thing is load in and load out. Now, so we've talked a lot about that, but you guys you'll load out whatever you can as early as you can. Because I've been in the main ballrooms and you guys are already starting to take it down like at our 11:30 panel. Because you're like, nothing in here after this one. Woohoo! And stuff it all behind us and we're ready to go.
The sooner we can get out of the building or break down a room in particular, the faster we can get the rest of that hotel together, because we have to have a consolidation point. So we have to get all of our gear out of all these track rooms back to some central point so we can put it all in a truck. And it takes more trucks to get out of Dragon Con than it does to get into Dragon Con, because it goes into the trucks a little more disorganized than it does when it got here, because they have time to load those in a very methodical way, where a lot of times we just have to get the stuff out of the building as quickly as possible. The other challenge is, like, you know, let's just say we had a ballroom that didn't have any programming in it after, 11 o'clock on Monday. Great. We can start tearing down that ballroom, but we still can't really do anything with that equipment because there's 2 bands trucks that are sitting in the loading dock that are getting their equipment out, and, another furniture company is getting equipment out. So we have to fight for space in the dock.
And you're getting stuff out on Labor Day, which is usually a non-working day for a lot of regular. I said for regular people or regular,
not Dragon Con people,
not for us, not for Dragon Con people, not those of us that didn't run fast enough. It's not for us. But one of those, that's always what I call it. And I love doing what I do. So as a director, I love it. I make jokes, but I really do. But yeah, so. But then you still got some people trying to get in there. I've seen them. As soon as we've moved out of the concourse on the Hyatt, somebody else is putting up their registration tables that'll start on Tuesday morning.
It's the same thing it's the same thing we're doing during load-in. Like, so we're literally waiting for people to get out of our way sometimes. Or even, you guys mentioned it just a minute ago, we're going in and helping the hotel stack chairs just to get them out of our way. So we can bring gear in because there's another show loading out. There's people doing that right behind us at Dragon Con. So there's people coming in to set up And so in some rooms, like in a track room, you see us set up the screens and projectors and things like that. Right. It's all stuff we can carry in by hand. In the ballrooms, we have the scissor lifts in there and trusses and things that we have to have professional rigging crews come and lower that stuff down. So I mean, there's more involved.
Stages, folks. Those stages don't just show up either. Those are put up by people. Amazingly, that just doesn't. It's not just there. It's kind of terrifying when you start thinking about it. And Nefri, I bet that's where a lot of your planning experience goes, isn't it?
Yes. For the overnight, we also refer to it as the reset crew. So the extent of my job is to make the next day better, or as close as I can. Try to put out any fires that happened overnight, wrap up any disputes, if there was any kind of issue with safety, or, somebody got too drunk or whatever. I mean, I have to deal with all of those things too, but I try always to talk with Scott and with Jason, and we're very, very, I think we've developed a really good method of communication over the years, and we pretty seamlessly can kind of roll this 24 hours a day.
That's amazing. That takes a lot of operationalization and planning, and wow.
That's amazing. Because she doesn't want TransStar calling her up in the first thing in the morning saying, there were 950 chairs yesterday. There's only 945 today. Where's my 5 chairs?
Where are my 5 chairs?
And I'm not saying that TransStar has done that. I'm not saying that TransStar has done that. I am saying that it has happened.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm just,
because my job is essentially to get those 3 out of the Westin, because they don't want to have to make the trek up there.
I know. I try to keep them out of the Sheraton as much as possible. I do. The Sheraton's nuts. Don't, and it's a trek. Even though it's not up the hill, it can be down that hill, which is just as scary. Yep. Different muscles being used, but just as scary. And sometimes I know you guys only have very limited equipment that you actually hold at the Sheraton, and TransStar probably at the Westin as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do still operate a full ballroom in the Sheraton that has, rigged equipment that's flying, and we do have track rooms over there too. We don't have quite the emergency pool of equipment like you mentioned earlier. Hey, somebody didn't tell me they needed a projector and a guitar stand and a magic flying widget that we have to invent while we're there at con. We do have those kinds of resources more in the core hotels in like the Hyatt, Marriott, and Hilton.
Yeah, but we need to trademark all those things we invent on the fly, because we need to start making some money off of this stuff.
Wait, what if you... Okay, I'm going to... Hold on. I want to hear that story. I want to also say this. If you're a panelist or a pro or whatever else, our con does not have a bite out of any apple. So if you're using something that is an Apple related product, you need to bring your own cords, because they don't got them.
Our standard phrase is, I need an adapter for my Mac. When you bought your Mac, it came with an adapter. Make sure you put in your bag every time you leave your house.
There you go.
Keep in mind, we're going to see a lot of presentations from these guys this year too, I'm sure. Yes. And those adapters have all changed a lot. iPhones don't have headphone jacks anymore. If you want to play audio off an iPhone, make sure you bring the dongle that goes with it that adapts from Lightning to 3.5 millimeter, because those are a little harder to come by.
And dongle, it's actually a technical term. I didn't believe that for many, many years, but DragonCon has convinced me that's actually a technical term.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
We were involved in some of that language phrasing. So
yes. Right.
Yes.
Yep.
And we're all 12. We've already talked about that a long time.
Oh, yes.
But Scott, you were saying things you've invented on the fly. What have y'all invented?
We've invented a lot of different ways to connect that PC to that projector, over to that soundboard, over to that camera, and back over to somebody's personal recording device. And if we can do that at 3 a.m., on caffeine and Monster. We need to bottle that, trademark that, sell it to somebody else, because I guarantee you some other tech crew on some other convention needed that exact same piece of equipment, and they were just missing one little adapter.
They needed that, or they needed the all right, on YouTube.
Exactly.
How do I? Yeah, you guys can make your own little YouTube.
It's funny because a lot of those things, there's the right way to do something, and then there's the way we have to do it in the time we have allotted with whatever request came in. So, I mean, I have literally had to cut a cable on stage while there was a band standing in front of me to solder a cable together so that a guitar could plug in, because they didn't have a guitar cable with them, and I had to make one while they were playing.
Uh-oh. They didn't go run around the Marriott, bottom of the Marriott.
We didn't have the right kind of cable with what they had, so I literally had to take a cable and cut it and solder it back together in a different way so that they could use it. And the band was playing. Like, they didn't have lead guitar for 5 minutes while I'm soldering a cable.
Soldering a cable that they've also. Oh goodness! Yeah. And I also want to bring up something Transtars said and Nefri said. There's a reason that we all of a sudden go, where did those 5 chairs go? Because we need those 5 chairs.
I was about to say, you track actually get very, very, how do I say, anxious about those extra 5 chairs?
Yes, we do. Yes, we are. Yes, we will be. Because those 5 chairs are necessary. And you can't just take those chairs. And I'm also going to say this. If all of a sudden you're walking around and you just happen to see a microphone on the floor, I know how much microphones cost, people. Hand it to a track director, because we will think it's tech ops. If it's not ours, we'll give it back to the hotel. But if you find a piece of technical equipment and you're like, oh, I'll just take this home. Please don't. Please give it back.
Please don't.
Yeah.
Please
that
don't.
makes our lives much more complicated. And it eventually makes the con's life more complicated too.
And there are a lot of beans to count. Ask Nefri. And there are 3,700 microphones that they have to come up with. I have no idea if that's even close to the number. I'm trying.
It's fairly close.
It's probably
remarkably close.
Oh, good. Yay. Woo!
How do we say it? It's con close.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we do use. We have 30. I think we have 34 microphones for the orchestra. So it's just one example.
What orchestra?
The symphony, the Georgia Philharmonic.
Oh,
every year.
That one. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I was like, so we get a Dragon Con orchestra. I'm like, wait, did I miss that in one of our meetings? Oh, okay. Sorry, that orchestra.
Yeah, that panel that's going to fill up as soon as that door opens up.
Yep. Yes, it will.
That I have yet to fully watch the whole thing, because something always happens.
Yeah,
I haven't ever been able to watch it, because something has. Every time I've wanted to do that,
Stop
every
laughing,
time.
Stop laughing.
Why is Nefri laughing? Nefri? Because story there.
Because the guy.
Because things happen when that happens.
And things happen, and it's almost always never on my shift. And so I get to hang out, and they have to go work. And it's just
there was a time in another year where we're watching the symphony, trying to relax and enjoy, and all of us have radios in our ears, and all of a sudden you see 2 rows of people stand up and exit the building. Because something has going on that should not be going on.
Boom. Something went boom. Yeah.
Something went something.
You saw him.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You'll often see people come up and like tap people on the back, and then they'll like lean over and whisper. And if you see this look, just don't ask any more questions. Just bring that person chocolate or a cup of coffee and back slowly away. That's probably the best thing you can do. We had a question here, and it's from Eternal Zan, but I'm assuming you guys. Hi, Zan.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you guys need more volunteers.
Yes.
All the time, every year.
Yeah.
All
the time, plus every one.
Always.
I'll take it this way. Tech Ops always needs more volunteers. We have yet to hit our max capacity since I've ever been on tech staff.
Okay.
But there's a lot of departments that way. Tech ops, safety, registration. Those are 3 huge departments that will never run out of room to put somebody.
Always. And in all honesty, folks, track directors have done that and gone, hey, what can we help with? Because safety has needed somebody. I'll tell you my favorite safety story later. Safety has needed somebody, or tech ops has, and somebody went, yeah, I know how to run that. And I'm like, hey, this is your new friend. Here's my friend Brent.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not even a volunteer. He's married to a volunteer, so he'll help. And
those,
so he's volunteered.
Those are actually our favorites. Conscription volunteers.
Yes. All right. Exactly. Because we've done that many a time. That's why my husband is volunteering this year for gaming. So I can't all of a sudden go, honey, texting him, I need you too. He's like, nope, I'm gaming. I'm on
somewhere
my
else.
shift.
Yep.
Yeah. No. Because
well,
otherwise,
and
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Lee. I was just going to say that, we're cracking a lot of jokes and that's great. But, we usually are operating with like maybe a 15, 20-minute window sometimes in between having to be at a certain place or check on a certain guest or be at a particular panel. And it's so fast, aside from all of the other stuff that we have to do, that we are never, ever, ever lacking need for more bodies. And it doesn't even matter. We've had, I'll probably tell this story later, maybe not, that we've been heckled. We get heckled in the ballroom sometimes. And sometimes you just walk in and they go, what is tech ops doing? And you're like, well, I've worked in venues and backline for the last 20 years, but this kid's name is Willie and I met him Tuesday. So I don't know what's wrong. We're going to figure it out.
We're going to figure it out. Exactly.
Seen a piece of audiovisual equipment before Tuesday.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and the other question Zan had was, and how many hours does someone usually work in tech ops? I'm not going to ask y'all that because the question is as many as you can do.
Well,
because they will always need people.
We put it simple. If you want to volunteer with tech staff, and again, everybody needs help out there, especially this year. We get a lot of people this year saying, because of, COVID and everything else, you guys must not need as much help. No, we're still in every single ballroom. We're still in every single track room. We're setting up as if we're going to have 1,000 people or 100,000 people. It's the same amount of equipment for us.
Right.
So for us, we look at people and say, if you're willing to donate at least 25 hours, at least to help us, then come talk to us. If you're looking to, I'm going to volunteer 2 or 3 hours, you need to go talk to another department and see what you can work with them. But even that, most departments are going to look at you and say, if you're not willing to put in at least 20, 25 hours across 5 days, there's not enough of commitment for us to kind of bring you in as a volunteer.
Well, and keep in mind, we're there working for 7 days. If you can't find, 25 hours to work over a 7-day window of availability before con, during con, after con, like as we're trying to get out, we really need people that are reliable, that can be there when they say they're going to be there, and that are going to, put in that kind of extra mile. I think we have run some statistics over the years. We probably don't have really accurate numbers right now, but I think the average tech ops volunteer over the time period works about 40 to 45 hours as an average.
Yep.
Wow. That's a lot of hours. That's a lot.
I thought that number was rather soft. I would ballpark it somewhere in like 50, 60 hours.
We ran those numbers in the past. I don't know what those numbers are like in the last couple of years, but I know I ran those numbers with Stephen Grenade years ago, and I know we were looking at numbers in that ballpark.
Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah. There's a lot of hours. When I first got brought in as a director, Jason and I each did minimum 12-hour shifts a day. So 12 hours on, but
minimum.
After you're done with your shift, there's still other problems you're trying to resolve. So really, you're putting in 16, 18 hours, go take a nap for a few hours, and you're right back on shift. Right. That's why.
And maybe you get to see something that you want to do. Maybe.
Possible.
If you can remember it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
The app helps with that, but not perfectly. Yeah, Transtar.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you get signal for the app, but yeah,
exactly.
but yeah, we're the strange people where this is our con. This is what we enjoy doing. So the hours, that number seems crazy, but it's self-fulfilling and it's something we enjoy doing. We do still need people that are just are able to show up, do their 25 hours, because we do need help doing things like loading ballrooms, moving cables, and that sort of thing. So we're joking around and everything else, but it's not that scary. Yeah. No. And you might find you like it, and you're going to be that next year, that person that's right along with us putting in, because that happens every year.
Always.
I have never attended DragonCon.
Yeah,
ever.
Same here.
Never.
Same.
No.
I did my first year, and I was on Tech Ops by the end of my first year.
There we go.
I did 2 years, except again, I was volunteering during my second year because it was a new track and they just desperately needed people. And I was like, I can stand up here and watch people talk and tell them they got 5 minutes. I'm right with that. So we've all done that, and that's really great. So one of the things too is somebody said heckled people. No, don't heckle people. No. No, don't heckle. Don't heckle. Remember, John has said this a lot. Every year at DragonCon, all of us, all the DragonCon family that we love, has to be flexible. This year, we not only have to be flexible, we have to be extra flexible.
We have to be extra bendy.
Extra bendy, yes. Even somebody whose spinal column doesn't work anymore has got to figure out how to be a little more bendy this year. But also, we've got to be even more patient than usual, because who knows what's going to happen. And we will manage that chaos as it goes, as we do every year. But just be nice, please. Please be nice.
Two things. One is, we strive every year to make sure that DragonCon, the attendees never see the problems. Nope. Every now and then you might see the problem, but typically 99% of the problems that we have, you're not going to see, because we're going to sneak in, figure out the problem, resolve it as you're loading in the room, and you never know it. The second thing for our volunteers, because we get this every year, we don't just need technical people. I need people. Yes. So we have people who sit in a chair, and for every track director who gets a radio, they come see us and get a radio and check it out. So volunteering for Tech Ops isn't just setting up the ballrooms. It's my HR people. It's my radio people. It's here's a piece of cable. Please take it from this room to this other room and come back. If you can do that.
Come back. Come back.
Exactly. The secret.
Yes.
If you know how to come back, then we can use you on Tech Ops.
Yes.
Well, and if you want to learn everything else, I'll teach you everything else. We'll get people with you to teach you how to run a board, a soundboard, a room, you name it. We'll teach you that to you. But if you can start with basics stuff, you're golden.
It's also the people in the ballrooms when you're going into the room to go see whatever panel you've been in line for 2 hours for, or an hour for.
Please come forward and go that way.
Please come to the sound of my voice and go down this road. Those are Tech Ops people as well. So we need any of those bodies that are willing to do that kind of work.
Yeah, the people that volunteer in the ballrooms are Tech Ops. So just FYI for that, and understanding that too, which is, I think, important too, because some people don't get that those people that you see running those soundboards or those really big cameras, they probably didn't know how to do that. They were willing to help and willing to learn. So
I started learning AV, audiovisual technology, at DragonCon, and I do AV professionally now as my day job.
Wow.
But I started doing that basically with DragonCon back when I started doing that.
Yep. I will also say something you should thank Tech Ops for is, if you're in the Sheraton and you're at the party on Thursday night, there is a big spinny mirror disco ball. Tech Ops puts that up there for me for every year we've had that party, and it's awesome because we like it, because it's a party.
And a couple of bright spotlights on it too to make it extra shiny.
I was about to say, I think that gets flown every year when the equipment gets flown up into the sky. That gets added on.
I love my disco ball. I really do, and I thank Tech Ops and Bill for getting me my disco ball each and every year. So yeah, and you guys are right. You don't see our faces. You don't see people handling stuff. There's so much more that goes on behind. That's why we wanted to have Tech Ops, because Michael, it was a great idea. There is so much that goes on behind con that you just can't imagine.
We are the ducks on the pond. Everything is calm on the surface and paddling like hell underneath the water. Yeah. If you see us running, you should probably be running too, and in the same direction and faster. You usually don't see us. We exist kind of behind the scenes for the most part.
Well, actually, I'm not sure you want to run behind them and with them, because probably they're running towards the problem, and you are trying to be like going, I brought you the coffee and the chocolate. I'm out. I am not doing anymore. So there you go. So yeah, do that. All right. So as we're doing this, one of the things I said, I first of all want to know how. All right, each person got their nickname. So Jason, you said you've been Wolfman since middle school?
I've been Wolfman since middle school. So in middle school, I really wish I had a good picture of it, but I have always had the widow's peak from hell. Okay. And when I was in middle school, I looked like Eddie Munster. Like I had big, thick, pointy eyebrows, and I had a widow's peak, and my hair has always stood straight up. So I had straight up hair that had the widow's peak down on the front, and somebody called me Wolfman one day, and it stuck. And that's been my nickname since like the late 80s. So we've had other people try to come on to Tech before with wolf-centric names or requested as Wolfman too. It's like, sorry, this one's here first.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, you're not playing that. All right, Scott, West Coast.
When I first volunteered, my then brother-in-law was the tech director. So his name was Thomas. Came out for his wedding, and he explained what they did at Dragon Con and said, you should come out here. Okay, I'll buy a plane ticket. I'll pay for a hotel. I'll fly from the West Coast out here. Did all the paperwork. Get out here, come to find out, oh, we needed a nickname for you. But we forgot to tell you. So we're going to give you the nickname West Coast. Okay, I get it. It makes sense. They tried to change it over the years 3 different times. Nobody can remember the name, so it becomes, all right, you're forever West Coast.
There you go.
And I'm like,
are you still on the West Coast?
No, I'm in Atlanta. So someone's trying to make it, you should be named Bi-Coastal. Sorry, just doesn't work.
This doesn't fall off as quickly as West Coast. All right, Transtar.
Honestly, this is just a nickname I've had ever since the, pre-dawn days of the internet, before images even became on there. So it was kind of one of those, and they asked for a nickname. I was like, oh, I'll just put that down, and it just never changed. So
I'm sorry. As I said earlier, you look very young. You said pre-days of the internet, early days before there were images. Come on, no, not for you.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Keep that moisturizer up and then send me whichever one it is. Okay, so Nefri.
Oh man, mine is.
You can make up a story. I'm not going to know the truth. These guys will, but they won't tell me. So.
Yeah, but if I need to tell the truth, because otherwise they'll call me out on it, and that's what I trust them to do. No, Nefri was a tabletop character that I played in high school. When I was playing back in the long ago, when I was playing White Wolf, and that was big. I had a character named Nefri. And then when I became a performer, well, actually, that's not true. I started working at Dragon Con first. They said I need a nickname for the badge thing, and I can't go by Claire, and that's a whole other story. And I said, okay, fine, just do this one, thinking that, okay, fine, people called me that, a few years ago in high school. People will call me that now. It's not a big deal. It's just once a year. And then I became a professional entertainer. And now that's just my name.
Yep.
There you go.
So,
all right, Nefri. There you go.
It started with VTM, but I'd like to think I elevated it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Awesome. Very good. Very good. I like this. I like this. And then Scott or Jason, you said if somebody doesn't pick a name, some years you'll like. You said last year was car parts, so you had a battery and a spark plug.
I've been in the grocery store talking to our HR people saying, we need a new badge name for this person. I'm literally looking at a bottle of Sunkist and say, his name is now Sunkist.
There you go. Okay.
We've
and
had
that badge name stuck too.
Yep.
It did. It did.
Okay, good to know.
And we usually let people try to pick their first badge name. We usually have certain rules behind it. It has to be family friendly. It needs to be easily read and said over a radio. So if you want to put together 64 characters random and call it a name, if I can't pronounce it, I'm sorry. We're going to pick up something else for you. But usually throughout the convention, somebody's going to say or do something funny, not funny, whatever, and that's going to affect us and want to change your badge name.
All I can think of right now is I want to name somebody Fooderman, but that's just because I rewatched that show recently. So okay,
we've had people
Fooderman.
Pick a name, pirate something, and get on the radio and talk for 5 minutes straight. I've had to break the radio, get in there and say, okay, you're no longer pirate, whatever. Your name is now Chatterbox, period.
It's another name that stuck.
That also stuck.
Oh, good to know.
I was going to say, not all of our badge names are voluntary.
All your badge names are voluntary. There you go. There you go. Yeah. See, I didn't realize how big a deal, like, those kind of nicknames were for years until Dragon Con, because I'm just Lee. It's pretty simple. I mean, I've had it pronounced in so many different ways, especially with my spelling. But yeah, because like I'll look at my volunteers badge, I'll be like, well, I never knew that was what you wanted to be called. They're like, no, they just asked for a nickname, and that's what I was, my character, or that was this or that or something else. And I'm like, oh, okay. And the widow speak thing and looking like Eddie Munster. I was about to say you didn't flick it back. It just stood up, huh? Jason, you didn't flick it back? He's not answering that question. I see that. Oh, it just stuck right. Okay, good. All right, so
for a little while there, I actually had long hair, and my hair still stood straight up. I woke up in the morning, I looked like an 80s rock star with all the hairspray because my hair stood straight up.
Good to know. Anybody has those pictures? I have cookies. And I got cookies in my track room.
We might be able to pull up some old pictures.
There you go.
There are a couple of old pictures of me in Tech Ops when I still had a ponytail, but that was a long time ago.
I don't think I've ever remembered you with a ponytail, and I kind of remember us always being on South.
I definitely had a ponytail in 97.
97? Okay. Woo! Awesome. All right. Now, best stories. Keep them family friendly. And we're going to start with Michael because he's been the quietest.
Yep. All right.
Babe, I think you lost your mic. You lost your mic, baby.
Michael? We can't hear you, Michael. Nope.
Anything?
Please stand by for technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. We got
you back.
We got you back.
Tech Ops away!
Yay for technical problems. But if you can hear me, so one of the things is we are subject to so many stories that can never see the light of day, ever. Trying to think of one that we can share. So one that does remind me is at Con a few years ago, there was a app launch where one of the stars were launching an app that had to deal with conventions and everything else. And so the room was set up like it would have been for a presentation because we, wasn't too much communicated to us about it. And about 5-10 minutes before the panel starts, the guest walks in and is like, this is supposed to be a party, which means round tables, all the chairs are gone off the floor, dance floor, and everything else. So yeah, that was a fun experience. But in doing that, we had the guests there pushing chairs with us. They have this huge 8-foot tall section of chairs, moving it with all the hotel staff and everything else. That's one of those calls that Wolfman or West Coast gets, that they all of a sudden stand up from wherever they're sitting down and run to some hotel. That's the type of calls that they do get.
That's when two whole rows stand up and walk out at the same time. Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, Nefri.
Hold on one second.
You're back.
Okay. I'm I'm the overnight director. None of mine are family friendly.
Oh, that's true. Please also, people, if you are gonna vomit, don't find a trash can. Don't.
Yes, please.
Please don't. Trash can.
Yeah,
there are a lot of trash cans around con.
That ends up being something else in the overnight director's jurisdiction of getting the hotel crews to clean up some of that mess from the raves that are going on before the late show starts.
I will say that I will admit to some small stage fright. In this case, I'm obviously much better behind the camera. I'm sure we all are. But I actually had Scott on the phone this morning, like, I don't even know what to wear, man. Should I put on a suit? He was like, you've got Dragon Con t-shirts. I was like, I can't wear a t-shirt. I normally look like Nazi librarian Barbie. Nobody's going to take me seriously.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. Welcome to Dragon Con. Enjoy your stay.
Mm-hmm.
There are no refunds. Nope.
I was going to say, don't even enjoy your stay. Just, you're going to stay.
You're staying. Enjoy. But I like that. Yeah.
I will tell one story that was before I was a director, and largely because I get to pick on Jason just a little bit. And so he knows the story I'm going to talk about because I love the story. I wasn't a director yet. I was still working on the day shift, working under Jason. I was his second, and I happened to be in the Westin, in the Wild Wild Westin, and I got a text from Jason that was an SOS text, and we all have our little, code words and stuff, and so it was an SOS text, and I had to be in the Marriott. Well, it's Saturday at about 9:45.
AM?
I think Saturday. Yeah. So I had to run through the parade. The parade's Saturday, right? I can't ever tell when the schedule is. Yeah. So I have to go through the parade from the Westin through to the Marriott. And the next text that I sent to Jason was, I might need bail money. and he goes, the immediate response text was, I can't deal with that also right now.
I can't deal with that also right now.
And then one of the APD officers had been given instructions to not let anybody in the front door of the Marriott during the parade. And I said, no, I don't think you understand. I'm going through that door, sir, and you're welcome to come with me. But without handcuffs, I'm going through that door. And he's, oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're not. And my husband at the time was with me, and he immediately just stepped in and played interference while I immediately found the second front door to the Marriott and wiggled my way in and ran through the hotel to find out what was wrong.
There are a lot of people here. He won't figure out which one's me.
That was my thinking. I was like, if I could just be sneaky and fast, like I'll just zoom.
No,
yeah.
Don't do this to APD. But that is a funny story. That's a good one.
Fortunately, I was very fortunate. Somebody from safety came to my rescue and pulled the APD officer aside, knew who I was, and said, yeah, that one, wherever she's going, you don't want to be. So
again,
it's just better if you just let that go.
Gotcha. All right, Scott. All right, West Coast, what you got?
That's the question. Do you start talking about Green Lantern and things like that? But
I don't think those are PG-13 appropriate
Not PG.
conversations for this.
Exactly.
No.
Okay,
no.
well, next time I see you, I do want to hear whatever Green Lantern is. But
you might not.
Yeah, you might not want to. I think the most interesting was a Venture Brothers panel. 15, 20 minutes before the end of their panel, the Venture Brothers decided to announce, hey, we're going to have an autograph signing outside this ballroom for X amount of people.
I remember that.
I had their handler walk up to me, stark white face, saying, they just announced this. I did not know about it. I apologize. Can we make it happen? In 15 minutes, between a message between safety, the hotel staff itself, we were actually able to set up an actual table, spacing where people were going to stand, have cards to hand out to the first X amount of people and say, if you don't have a card, you can't be in line, no signatures. When they were done with the panel, they literally walked outside their ballroom, 50 feet to a table, sat down, and started signing autographs. That's the type of things that Dragon Con and Tech Ops can do. You give us a few moments, let us breathe, we'll come up with a solution.
We will figure out a solution. We will. We work the problem. We do work the problem. Yeah.
You may not like my solution, but I'm going to find you a solution.
Yeah. It might not be the prettiest. That might be why you're soldering on stage while there's no lead guitar, but that does happen. All right, Jason, come on.
I don't know. There's so many stories. There's crazy stories from like things that have gone catastrophically wrong to like just some of the most random things. Like a random thing that comes to mind, like that most people wouldn't be able to say in their careers, whether it's volunteering or professionally or whatever, is, you know, once upon a time we had a whole group of very famous musicians that were coming to perform at Dragon Con, and Tech Ops literally had to pick up Chick Corea's piano to put onto the stage.
Yeah.
So that they could have the setup for their performance. So we literally hand lifted Chick Corea's grand piano to put on the stage in Centennial. So random things that we have done in our time there.
That's wow. Ooh,
I mean, there was
heavy.
There was probably 25 of us or so that lifted that piano, but that was also back when there was probably only about 50 of us in Tech Ops.
I was going to say 45, 50.
Yeah, right. There were only this many at that point. That tells you how many hotels we are now, and the mark. So, oh my goodness. Now, the one thing we're going to end up with here, and we're not going to play a game because I am still very terrified I did not hit record, but because I am Tech Ops. I'm not. But they could teach me. They could. I totally admit that. But so one of the things I often get asked is, why aren't all the track rooms on DCTV, or why isn't it this, or why isn't it that? And that's a DCTV question. That's not a Tech Ops question. So what is the relationship between Tech Ops and DCTV? Because I know there is one.
Yes.
But
yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
Oh, no, I'll let you take this one because you've been working with them the longest.
So it's kind of funny because, you know, when we first started the concept of even trying to stream video out of these rooms, I mean, it was Tech Ops that had some little extra bit of kit that we were taking video from a camera and, you know, doing some kind of ingesting, sending it to somebody's laptop, and that was going up to a stream that predated YouTube. I don't even remember what it was back then, but I remember we were doing it. And eventually that kind of, you know, turned into its own dedicated department with more sophisticated technology and more sophisticated streaming platforms and better organizational structure on how they were doing all of that. So, you know, what that's kind of evolved to today, at least from the ballroom side, is, you know, we're still running the microphones that are on the stage for the panelists, for the Q&A, for the people that are standing there in the audience that are asking questions to panelists. There's usually somebody running that video camera, and all of that is going back to some kind of a, we'll call it a local distribution point. So somebody from DCTV is manning that. So they're controlling, you know, what the image from the camera is on the screen, or whether there's content coming from somebody's laptop, and making sure that audio feed is good, and all of those sorts of things. And then that goes down to the DCTV kind of broadcast operation, where that gets then ingested back to the hotel closed circuit feed, so you can watch it in your hotel room, and what's going out to the, you know, the video sites like StreamYard and you know, whatever other platforms we're using. So that's, you know, we have to work very closely together because their front end equipment is sitting on, our sound stages that are still taking, feeds from our microphones and the cameras and stuff like that in the room. So, they rely on us to get them the baseline of the stuff, but they're the ones that are doing all the processing and all the legwork to get that, to the internet.
So very cool.
If you go back and look at some of the old original bumpers for DCTV, all those people were tech ops people, because DCTV was born out of tech ops. Yeah. So that's why you see the same people over and over again, because we need people this weekend to form a new bumper. Same people that volunteer, and it's your tech staff.
Yep. There you go. Or those were the ones I could find right then. Who
exactly.
Hey, I need those 2 rows. Come on, let's go right now.
Yep.
That to shoot some of those bumpers, they still needed microphones and lighting and cameras and stuff like that. And we're the people that own all that stuff on the side for fun anyway.
For fun. Okay. Don't want to know. Not going to ask. Okay.
Hey, I've got lighting in here and lighting in front of me and microphones and cameras and everything else.
And I have a green screen behind me that I'm not using right now because we tried to use it the other day and it caused a serious lag. So until John gets back here and we can figure some stuff out, you're just going to see this, or else you're just going to see my messy desk area behind me. This just doesn't work.
No feeling.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So I just want to thank you guys, y'all. I try not to use you guys anymore. I want to thank y'all for all being on here. This has been a lot of fun. We have gone over an hour. We're not playing a game on Jackbox, but John will be inviting you all back. Or actually, I will be, because that's paperwork that John doesn't want to do. I will be inviting you guys all back one time, and we will just play a Jackbox game, and John will show it or add it or whatever, because he loves his games. Me, he makes me play them. It's unless it's Exploding Kittens or Ticket to Ride, I'm pretty much out of it. But there we go. So, on behalf of John, and happy birthday to his oldest, who is not here. This is Lee for Jason, Scott, Nefri, and Michael. See, I went that way. Saying bye.
Bye, all.
Bye. Thanks.
Yay. And be nice to everybody.
Please.
Please.